All right, this week we are talking about let it go and offenses, okay? We're not singing the Frozen song, but we are talking about letting go our offenses. So what exactly does an offense mean? Okay, an offense could be a breach of the law. It could be illegal, something legal, but offense can also mean just that annoyance or that resentment that we have because of a perceived insult. Perceived insult. That means that person may not have really even insulted us, but we feel like they did. It felt real to us, it hurt our feelings, and we took offense. So we always have the choice to forgive and let it go, or to hold on, to remember it, to relive that hurt, to dwell on it, to keep thinking about, tell all our friends about it. But you know what? The faster that we forgive, the less opportunity we have for strife or bitterness or anger to come into our heart, and we close the door to the devil. We don't leave the door open for him to come in and mess up our whole life. Okay, so quickly we want to let it go. We don't want to hold on to offense. So when a person has a mindset to be offended, it doesn't take much for them to be offended. You'll find that those people are easily offended. And sometimes we say, oh, you have to really walk on eggshells around that person. Why? Because easily they get their feelings hurt. And let's be honest, sometimes that person is us. Sometimes we also are easily offended. And we don't even know sometimes why that is, but we'll talk about that later this week when we look at different things. But you know what? We have to choose in our heart, I am not going to be a person who's easily offended. Because you know what? When we're offended, that cuts us off from God's power in our life. Okay? We want God's power. And God's power and God's peace go together. It's like a married couple. They're together. And when we lose peace because we hold on to offense, we lose God's power. All right? So we know in Psalms 133, verse 1 and 2, it says how good and pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity. Of course, that's sisters too. And then it goes on and it talks about the oil that flows from Aaron's head to his beard. And it's talking about the anointing of God and the order of God's blessing and how things start at the head and they flow down, how we need to be in proper order. But it's also showing us that his blessing comes when we're in unity. So that means not when we're holding offense in our heart. When we are letting that offense stay in us, we lose that. So what's more important? Is it more important to hold on to that offense, or is it more important to be in God's blessing? So I'm going to ask you, is that offense worth it? Is holding on to that offense worth losing your ministry, your peace, the anointing that God's called you to? I'll go one step further. Is it worth losing your marriage? Is it worth losing your children? That friendship? Because that's what happens when we hold on to offense. It becomes unforgiveness, and that separates us, and that will never end well. Proverbs 18:19 says, a brother offended is harder to win than a walled city. And it's not just that we get offended, but you know, sometimes we're the ones offending someone else. And when we offend others, it makes it harder to reach them. It makes it harder to keep a relationship with them. So we want to always have relationships back and forth that are easy and quick to forgive. John Meagher has an amazing quote that says, our response to offense determines our future. I love that quote. I think that's great because you know what? The way we respond, whether we choose to let it go and forgive or whether we choose to hold on and let that offense destroy us, it determines what kind of future we're going to have. So, going the second mile, first we want to just determine that we are not going to be people that have a mindset that is easily offended. We want to not have that kind of mindset. We want to have the mind of Christ and quick to forgive. And then secondly, we just want to choose that nothing that we face as an insult is worth losing the peace of God or the people that God's put in our lives. So when that offense starts to come, let it go. Just let it go. Be quick to forgive and let it go.